If you want to see me create my first look using some of the Touch of Glam Beauty products I have, then stick around. Hi there, it's Hélène, and yes, we're going to use some of these gorgeous products today. And this set of shadows I selected from a much larger set of, I think, 18 shadows total, and I will put that video right here so that you can see swatches of what it is that I selected from Touch of Glam Beauty. And I was really impressed with what I received, both the state of the shadows and just my first impressions looking at them as I was unpacking them, and then of course subsequently swatching them. And in the comments I received a request, yes, of course, to do a first impressions sooner than later. That did not surprise me. But I had a very specific request, and it was to use, it's called Red Riding Hood, and this is Dirty Martini. And then I've added in Leprechaun's Vault, and this one, which is, I think this is the one that I was thinking of using, and it is, I should remember, Magentificent. It's a mouthful. But I also took out Sneeze Me Pink because it has a lime green pink shift. So it could be this one or this one. I will have to see when we get to it. I just feel like Magentificent is going to be deeper than Sneeze Me Pink, but we'll have to see. So the first two that for sure I'm going to use are this one, and then we'll see how I incorporate the other ones. So the Red Riding Hood is going to be my crease shade, and this Dirty Martini is going to be inner to center lid, and then we'll just have to figure out what is going on in the outer lid to crease area and lower lash line. I'm going to do both of my eyes at the same time, and if you're wondering why I took out the highlighter, is yes, I'm going to use it as a highlighter, but if you can really see it in the camera, it's a number of light shades. For my brow bone, that kind of thing, very, very inner corner, I may go into that highlighter pen and select one or two colors. So enough of me talking, let's go into applying. I am excited, but I'm also nervous because the textures and finishes of the Vivids, which are the primary colors I'm going to be using today, they're very different from what I'm used to, and we'll just have to see what the application is like. So I'll be creating the look and learning at the same time, maybe more so than other colors that I could have used, right, from other brands. So let's get into it. I'm going to go in with a crease brush and start using this one in the crease. And I need a mirror. Okay, so here's the crease brush I'm going to use. It's my typical crease brush. I'm going to go into Red Riding Hood. And it doesn't seem to pick up a ton on the brush. Let's see what's happening here. I don't know how much I picked up on the brush here. We'll see what happens. Might be more than I think it is. So it says Red Riding Hood, but I think I was expecting it to show up more like a deep hot pink, and it seems to be what it is right now. And I might end up having to use my finger. We'll have to see. I'm really trying to dig in with the brush here. The nice thing is when you're dealing with a shadow that's not really a very dry shadow, you can have a lot of control on the placement of the product on the eye. I just have to make sure to get this product everywhere I want it. Okay. And let's go in with the angled brush underneath. And this is the angled brush that I'm talking about. So again with the same color, and I'm going to put it on this side so that it just goes where I want it on the lower lash line. Actually, lower lid, really. I use those two terms interchangeably, and I'm not sure why. Okay, I think that turned out quite all right. And I'm going to go in now with that Magentificent. So I think that's going to be the one that makes the most sense. And I'm going to go in with my finger. So I find that the multi-dimensionals, multi-chromes, that kind of thing looks better applied with the finger. I'm going to go just on the outer lid to center lid and see how it goes. Okay, and I'm going to use some of what I have on my finger just on the upper outer lid, lower lid. Just like that. Okay, I'm not mad at this. So let's go and do the same on the other side. So I'm going to go back to my crease brush and just repeat what I did on this side on the other eye, and I'm going to just speed through it and we'll talk about next steps once I'm done. Okay, I feel like they're relatively even. I wouldn't mind taking care of the brow bone to just soften it up a little bit. And I think I'm going to go in with this kind of peachy, is it going to show on camera? Kind of a peachy pink right here. I'm going to use my usual fluffy brush that I usually use for the brow bone, which is just called the shadow brush. It was a set of 5 from Sephora some time ago. I'm just going to put it a little bit on the brush and just get the brow bone done. And it's very shiny. Woo! Very shiny. Okay. And back just a little bit with the crease brush. Okay, now I want to go in with this one, but I think I want to go in with this one as a topper for Leprechaun's Vault. So I'm going to use my pyramidal brush, the multitasker from Smashbox, to go on the inner, very inner lid, and then probably use my pinky to finish up. So let's try that. Here's the brush I'm going to use. Again, it's from Smashbox, the multitasker. I'm going to go into Leprechaun's Vault. And here's what I've got on the brush. And that is, again, a multi-dimensional from Touch of Glam Beauty. And I'm looking down to make sure I go up high enough in the crease. Okay, I'm going to go in with my pinky and just finish up. Not going to put a whole lot, just want to stamp it on, and hopefully it's going to meld into the other shadow, because the other shadow has kind of a yellow shift to it. Okay, I can dig that. I can dig that. And I'm going to go in again, and I'm going to put some, no, I'm going to change the brush. Very fine brush, and I'm going to put the same green on the inner to 1/3 of the lower lid. And I have this tiny smudger brush from Smashbox. It's the Precise Smudger, I think. Yeah, Precise Smudger, and I'm going to go in to that Leprechaun's Vault shade again, and just, I've picked up just a little bit. And just connecting the two, the top to the inner corner and down. Okay, I'm happy with that, so let's recreate that on the other side. And back with my smudger to do the lower inner lash line of the lower inner lash line. Technical term right there. I want a little bit more precision. I'm going to go in with a more pointed brush for the inner corner on each one of those. So I'm going to use the Morphe MB26. It's quite pointed, and I'll be able to get exactly where I want to go. And again, I picked up a Leprechaun's Vault for both. So this guy right here. And I'm pretty happy with the way it's going. And now I want to use my pinky to finish up the green on that side. Just a little bit, like I did last time. Pressing it in. So it's to enhance the inner lid that I've already worked on, and then to finish kind of melding it into the other Megadimensional. Okay, I'm happy with that. And now all I want to do is add a little bit more oomph, I guess, by putting a little bit of Dirty Martini on top of the very innermost portion of the Leprechaun's Vault. The reason being is that I want the very, very inner upper lid to be a little bit shinier, a little bit more sparkly than it is. And I'm debating whether or not I should use my pinky. I think I'm going to end up using my multi-dimensional brush. I'm just going to remove the Leprechaun's Vault by brushing it on my beautiful color switch here. Thank heaven for deep colored towels. So again, going into Dirty Martini. And it's a very kind of sparkly, vivid shadow from Touch of Glam Beauty, so I think it won't set too much on. I've never layered these. I've never used any of these on my eyes, so this is an experiment. So I'm going to do this right now and see what happens. It doesn't do very much, not much of a difference actually. Let's try it a little bit more. Okay. Okay, that enhanced it just a little bit. It just makes it a little bit more toward the yellow as opposed to like the limey yellow as opposed to the deeper green that is the Leprechaun's Vault. And I'm not going on the lower lid at all. I just wanted to emphasize a little bit more the upper lid. And I'm going to say I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to now go and take care of liner and mascara and then come back with the finished look. I think the lipstick is okay. It's a slow burn from Marc Jacobs, and I don't think I'm going to change that. And I think, yeah, I think that liner and mascara will help finish the look. So let me do that, and I will be right back. Okay, I am back, and I think the liner makes a lot of difference. Now, I was going to go in with a liner called Ransom, but then when I looked at it, it was just too light of a shade. So I went in with Crash from Urban Decay. Well, they're both from Urban Decay, but this is the one I went with, and I think it's a much better color. It's just a very deep, kind of plum, with some metallic shimmer, and I used that on the lower waterline and lash line. And I also used this 24/7 called Zero, which is this one, on my upper lash line, and not upper lash line, upper waterline. I had some at the beginning of the video, same one. And I couldn't do a wing with this because it's too liquidy. I would have liked to do a wing with this particular look, but I'm trying to use this liquid liner and learn how it works and what I cannot do. And right now it's too liquid to do a wing, but the precision is there. So maybe when it dries a little bit more in the container, that it's going to allow me to not smudge and do a wing. But yeah, the precision is right there. So I used it on the upper lash line and just pretty close to the lashes, and I think it does a good job. I've just found on the outer edge of the eye, it just, if there's any moisture there whatsoever, it just becomes a smudge, and I don't really want to mess up the look. So I just stopped right at the end and just tried to emphasize the eye with mascara instead. And I used the Clinique, so this one is the Pretty Easy liner from Clinique, and this is also from Clinique, and it's a mascara, and it is the High Impact Mascara. I've said it before, I don't think it's all that much high impact. Here's the wand. And I put 3 coats on the upper lashes, and just because this is a very intense look, I also put 1 coat on my lower lashes, which I don't usually do because they're very long. I even pinch off the mascara at the bottom, because if you're familiar with the clowns that are called Pierrot, which they're white face and usually have some dramatic eye look, and they're kind of an effeminate male figure usually. Anyway, they're mime-like, and that is a little bit what this look made me think of. And so I thought that mascara on my lower lashes would look good for this particular look. And I finished off with some all-nighter setting spray. I usually do that when I'm done with a look. And for anything else on my face, you can always check the description box. Everything is listed right there for your convenience. So let's talk about the eyeshadow. First thing I'm going to say is I don't think they're bad, but I have a few comments. There was some fallout with Red Riding Hood, and you can actually see some of it right on the edge of this ColourPop magnetic palette. So I had to do some cleanup down here, and when you try to brush it off, it is kind of a tacky formula. It's a kind of a wet, tacky formula, and so it streaks on you. So you may, if you don't mind powder under your eye, you may want to powder under your eye before doing a look. The other thing I'm going to say is that it's probably more red when you use your finger for application for this shadow as opposed to using it like a crease color with a crease brush. I think that the Vivids are far more intended with a flat brush or finger application for the lid as opposed to the way I use them. I had a feeling, but I wanted to use Touch of Glam Beauty eyeshadows for the whole look, and so I have no powdery type mattes from that particular brand, and the highlighter colors would definitely have just been way too shiny. As you can tell from my brow, wow, the highlighter is impactful, and I even put it on my cheekbone. I put the purple on my cheekbone. I was pretty light with it, so I don't know if it's showing really on camera, but anyway, I wanted to try. But the only way that you can really get a red, I think, or closer to a red, is if you're applying with the finger. So that's the way I'm seeing it. Otherwise, it's quite pink, almost like a salmon-y pink otherwise. Now, for the multidimensionals, I'm pretty happy with what happened. I like Leprechaun's Vault. I think it's quite pretty, and it has a really nice shift, and it did work really, really nicely with this one, which is Magentificent. Yes. They worked really well together, and it almost looks like the same multi-chrome. So I'm pretty happy with it. And of course, a lime green or lime-ish green with a fuchsia purple, which is the way Magentificent is showing up on the lower lid. I think they went really, really well together. So I'm pretty happy about that. And I think as well that Leprechaun's Vault and Dirty Martini worked very well together as well. I don't think you can tell the difference between the two shadows at all. And I was hoping that Dirty Martini would act as a topper for Leprechaun's Vault, and that's exactly what it did. So it just brightened up the very inner lid and gave the inner lid its moment, but still kept the cohesiveness of the way the green appears from the very inner lid to about 2/3 of the lid. I'm really, really happy with that. You can't really tell where the green ends and the purple starts. It just kind of melds together. So as far as multi-chrome, multi-dimensional, whatever you want to call these color shifters, I'm really happy with my first impression for the color shifters. I'm also impressed with the Vivids when it comes to Dirty Martini, and I think that I would have to get another experience with Red Riding Hood, because I think it's the wrong name. It's not really all that red. I think a red that goes more toward the burgundy for this kind of a formula, it would have kept the intended color more for a crease application. But again, if that's not the intention is only on the lid, then maybe I'm on board. But if it's supposed to go in the crease, that this does not give me any Red Riding Hood vibes whatsoever. So the bottom line for me is there's always a learning curve to a certain extent. Sometimes it's small, sometimes it's bigger with any given brand. I don't think that these are bad quality at all. I think that they're quite good. I think that I would, though, try out a look with these before I decide I'm going to go and create a look with Touch of Glam Beauty with shadows I don't know and walk out the door. I don't think I would have as much of a concern with other indie brands like Cliona Cosmetics. Because there are a lot of mattes to choose from, at least from the collection I have. So it would be nice to have some mattes to use with the selection I had here. But once I have experienced the behavior of each one of the Touch of Glam Beauty shadows, I know I would come out with some very colorful, punchy, beautiful looks. It's just, I need to play with them some more and have maybe some recommendations after having played with these for a while on my full thoughts on the brand, my full thoughts on my preferred couple of formulas from what it is that I picked up from the brand. I only picked up 18 items total. So I'll leave it there. I'm happy. I don't think this was a bad experience. I think I learned a lot. I'm hoping that what I did here was useful for you. If you have any questions, anything I didn't cover, please let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to respond and give you some additional thoughts if I can. But for now, I'll say thank you so much for watching this first impressions video. Let me know what you think. I always appreciate your comments and suggestions and observations, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care.